All right, welcome back here. So today we are going to go over your homework. It's going to be more like a review. So don't fret, don't freak out too much if you felt like you had some trouble understanding about what we needed to do or how we go about doing it, or maybe the best way to go about it, because that's what we're going to try to explore today. We're going to see what went well and then how we can improve some of it. Most of us, if not all, need some feedback here and there. So um, we'll go through. I'll add some comments to your spreadsheet, your Google spreadsheet, and to your Jira bug report. And then I would like you guys to go in and then make those corrections if necessary or where applicable. And then I think here, probably by the end of the week, or maybe the start of next week, they'll start to get graded. I won't be doing the grading, but someone else will be doing the grading. And they'll leave some notes. Not everyone is going to get some feedback during today and tomorrow, but depending on the class size, but the majority of us will. And I think that's the most important part. The video's lagging, but is the audio here is good? Okay. I think that's the important part. I think it's probably me. My internet is, I'm actually running an at-home test, so I might be using a bandwidth. I think the important part is that we get some feedback and then correct it. So it's not really helpful to get a number or letter grade one time and then that's it, right? What do you learn from that? You didn't go back and do it for realsies. You didn't go back and do it again, right? So that's what we want to have done here. All right. So once you make your corrections, you don't have to resubmit. If you've already submitted your homework, despite whatever the dashboard says, you're good to go. I promise you it's in there. No frets. I know the message is a little concerning, so it's all right. But also use the time we have now. We have about an hour, 45 minutes, maybe a little bit more with us today, and then 2 hours tomorrow. I know some of us are crunched for time, and it's late on the East Coast, even later in other countries. So let's utilize our time effectively here. Let's have some good time management skills. And if you haven't been able to fill anything out, if you haven't submitted any homework right now, it's okay. Get your spreadsheet. You maybe can walk through this and go with us as we go and find some good test cases and examples to kind of base your own off of. I wouldn't say plagiarize, but definitely get some good inspiration, right? Homework corrections are due as soon as possible. So if I am starting to make some here, you can go back in your spreadsheet as I'm done with it, and you can actually start making corrections, and that would be probably the best use of our time. But then again, not everyone is going to get that feedback. So what you see here correcting, I would like you to try to apply that to your own spreadsheet if you can find those areas that need improvement. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen here. I think we're going to start with Abel Sands, and it's all right. No need to be embarrassed or anything here. We're all here to learn. It's not like there is we've been imbued with any sort of QA God skills naturally for any of us. So you all have to start somewhere. Let me open up the chat. Gosh, I can, I've got this automated test going on and it vibrates all night. Not to scare you guys off or anything, but working from home might have a disadvantage in that regard. I wish I could put it somewhere where I didn't hear my device buzzing. Okay. So I'm going to start off, kind of looking at our test platform what we're doing, if it's going to be web or maybe a mobile device, and that really helps dictate how our test cases are going to go, because sometimes a mobile test case looks a little different than maybe doing it on web. I'm going to look at our test case titles. It doesn't have to be perfect English, doesn't even have to be necessarily grammatically correct or a full-length sentence, just as long as you can tell what you need to do to test your expected result. This should tell you it should be a good example of or indicating what you need to do for this. A good way to figure that out actually is just to assume you know nothing about whatever it is this project is. And if you can read this title and maybe figure out how to execute it or where it is, or what it's talking about, then you're on the right track and it's pretty good. Because that might be what happens. So you might actually end up writing test case titles, or someone else will write them. You'll have to get switched to another project, or your coworkers will end up handling these test cases just to divide up the work, because it'd be wild for one person to execute hundreds of test cases. And they might not have any background knowledge on it, right? So they have to be able to read your test cases, your steps, and your expected results, and make heads and tails of this, being able to know how to do it. Our preconditions are going to be things we need to have or have executed prior to doing our steps. So the most easy example, I think, is if we have a login page, we're trying to test logging in with using valid credentials. What do we need to do that? Well, first we need some valid credentials. We got to figure out those. So step one here would be have valid credentials. You don't have to list out all the steps to how to get that, but you can just say have valid credentials. If you're testing GPS or something on a device, maybe like Google Maps, you would say, have GPS turned on, or turned on in specific GPS settings. Steps, I like to see them numerated, 1, 2, 3, 4, and really detailed. So if it says to go to a page, and then it should also say to, if you need to register for an account, for example, it should tell you to fill in all the fields. And then the last step, it should say, click the submit button or go to next, or whatever you need to do to actually finalize that form. Expected result is going to be what should happen, what is going to happen, what we think will happen. I've got some good, kind of nitpicky things not to say in here, but it's for a little bit here. And I find that it's much easier to come up with the expected result than it is the test case title, because this is, I think, easier for us to process in our brain. It's, how do we know how a camera works? What should happen when you take a picture, right, with your phone camera, right? It blinks, it makes a sound sometimes, it captures a photo and puts it in your gallery, right? How to explain, how to verify that is a little bit different. So a lot of the times you can actually just copy and paste this if you get stuck, and put it in your test case title, and it comes out to about the same. And we got our name down here. That's helpful. But also another thing, when we're doing our homework here, please make sure your share options on Google Sheets are set to comment. So, I'll request access, and it'll send an email to your email asking for access. And set it to comment only. That way I can comment on it, and then instead of having to look back through this video or be here and hear my voice, maybe you have to go somewhere. I know your time's valuable. Some people have to watch this after, and that's okay. But make sure to set it to comment only. And what else? And the cells, here it's by default, but if your text is filling, going off the page, it's going underneath the cells, or it doesn't look like this, you should go up to format, and then you should go into, I think it's like cell formatting or something, and then make sure it's on text wrap. Text wrap is what we want to do underneath format. Yeah, it's okay if your name isn't on the column. It'd be helpful if you put your name in the title up here for the document or something. All right, and then we'll look at our bug reports, and I'll just give some brief feedback on that. And if we get to your name, feel free to let me know if there's any particular bug report you want me to look at, because I'm only going to look at maybe one or two. So, all right, so here we are looking at pipes and cigars. Not the only person to do that one. Seems to be a popular website. And thank you. Now we're comment only. If you put it on edit only, that's not really great either, because someone can then take your URL and then mess with your stuff, and we just want to keep everything secure. So let's look at our test cases here, and then I'll try to go across. Might not also read every one of them, but I'm going to skim across some of them as we get further and further into this, because it gets a little repetitive, but there are some tidbits and nuggets that are helpful. And it's okay if your name doesn't have a template column over here. It's as long as it's like up here or something, that's okay. I think you can also always edit your own spreadsheet to include a column. All right, so let's verify search query returns results. That's always a good one, a good way to describe testing a search bar, a search field. And for example, our steps are, locate the search field on the top, input any product name. I like that we're not necessarily giving any specific example, but any kind of product that should be on the website. You want to give some valid input, right? You don't want to start searching for bicycles on a place that probably sells tobacco and tobacco-related products. And then click the go button. So that's pretty important. You got to finish it off with clicking the go button. And be mindful about what it is you're testing and how many inputs whatever it is your testing has. So we know we can usually click the go button or the search button that's next to a search field. And we also know that we can hit the enter button, and that also does the same thing, right? But that might be considered two test cases. One would be clicking the go button, and then one would be clicking the enter button. Yes. Yeah, and if you haven't finished your homework right now, I think one person asked a question here. You can definitely submit it tomorrow, because we'll be here tomorrow. Same place, same time, and it's it's due today, so keep that in mind. But sooner the better. Okay, second one going down here, verify detailed product description page is displayed whenever we're clicking on a product image. So when we click on an image, we want something to pop up. Looks like some good steps here. And for these, we don't have to have any preconditions, it looks like. I'll get to your question in a second here. I want to keep myself on track. I got kind of like a ADH brain. Verify quick view pop-up window of the product description is displayed. It's also kind of like another feature. Expected result, the product description is displayed. That is what should happen. Verify the product description page is displayed. Okay, a lot of visual verifications here. The options list is displayed and the landing page is displayed. And then lastly, we have verify last name field is aligned in relation to other fields. So I know that's kind of a bug there. Our steps here, locate it, and then kind of verify something's maybe here. You wouldn't necessarily even need like a PRD or a wireframes or a design document to figure out if it looks weird or not. most things, design principles should be that everything should be lined up, right? Notice how everything's columned here. So everything should be kind of eslo mismo, should be all the same, right? That helps people who have OCD. Okay, looks good, really good. Let's, and I think we're still maybe working on a bug report or two. Let's check out this one. Don't think there's anything I really would have changed here. I would just challenge yourself to maybe explore some maybe negative test cases, or maybe something that's more functional, but good nonetheless. Here we're on Jira. And I'm gonna look at the title. The title should describe what the issue is, and then maybe how it happens or where it is, but it should definitely describe what is happening. I want to see some steps and the actual results and expected results. The actual results is for you to talk and summarize all you want here. It doesn't have to be a short sentence. It can be very long. It can be like a debrief. You can give all the observations you want, and it's highly encouraged, because this report is given to a developer, and it's seen by managers and triage resources, and they're trying to figure out this puzzle. So they might not actually know why the bug's occurring. So they need all the puzzle pieces they can get, because they didn't find it, the bug, obviously, otherwise they would have fixed it. So they need all the info they can. And you can also put preconditions here. And there's another one you can also put, but I'm not going to ding you or anything. It's called repo or reproducibility. That here. Repo, or also known as like reproducibility. How many times can you replicate it? So let's keep this in mind here for a second. Let's take a look at this bug from the top. Landing page will not load when entering URL or clicking on provided link. So the landing page is the page that you should come across when you first go to the website. Like Google, you don't immediately go to a search result field area, right? You go to that just one search field bar page. There's nothing on it. Or like Amazon, you see a certain elements on Amazon that's only on the front page, right? We only need one step here, and the landing page does not load, and the page is displayed. So when I click this one, we're given some errors, and the errors really depend on your browser. And sometimes it gives you like a 404 error. Sometimes it gives you like this DNS error, something like that. If there's an error on this page, I would suggest like copying it. We can't connect to the here. And then put that in your actual results. So a good way to fill up some space is just to copy and paste things. Is displayed. I don't know, I'm just kind of using yours as an example because there's the first one we're coming across today. So, yep. Oh yeah, and they also got a good screenshot down here. Expected result is what should have happened. And the expected result usually comes from your test cases. You would have a test case saying, clicking this link takes you to the landing page. And the expected result for that test case is the landing page is displayed. And then you just copy and paste that expected result from our spreadsheet. That would be over here, whichever one you were executing. And you found there was a bug on it, and then you copy and paste it here. So I added reproducibility a little bit earlier, and this is saying how many times we came across it. So some people put percentages, and I highly discourage that because it doesn't really mean a whole lot. So percentage would be like 100%. well, that's great, but how many times did you try it? Just one time, right? So that's okay. But I mean, if you tried it 100 times, that gives a different feeling about the severity of the issue. That can help describe the severity, right? They said they tried it 5 out of 5 times. So this happened 5 times that it was able to reproduce, and we tried it 5 times. The actual and the expected doesn't really matter. I mean, I've seen it many different. Sorry, I've seen it many different ways. Actual or expected on top. I've always seen the steps though up top, and then the preconditions above that. So, and nobody's really gonna really notice or not if you put the expected above it. Some companies will also already have this template made for you or is in their testing plan and testing strategy of how they want you to fill out a bug report. So you don't have to do any of this guessing, but you should know how to do it in case they don't have one. Our environment, we were using the browser Firefox, and this is the version number. If you are on a Windows machine, it's pretty easy to get the version number on most things. You would just go up to usually your menu area, or you try to find the help and about section, usually help and about, help, and then about. So anytime you find the about section of a program, it's going to tell you the version number. On Mac, it's a little bit different. You have to go around and hunt for that one a little bit more, but it's still in the menu section somewhere. And then it's good that we have, also the operating system is sometimes helpful, but in this case, it's just like a 404 error, so it's not that big of a deal. Screenshot or a picture is very helpful. Picture is worth 1,000 words, and video is 29 frames a second. So that's worth 29,000 words per second. Okay, you got some Chrome Dev Tools going on down here, in like the network area. So this is just showing that it took 20 seconds for this thing to load. Kind of slow internet there, I guess, from that company, this website. And it didn't load very well, so it's in red. There was no megabytes transferred. There was no data coming across, so that's helpful. This is an API thing, by the way. Not very relevant right now, but you'll see it a lot in your future. So. And then we have our priority. Other companies have priority and severity. Jira just kind of has priority. I think you can also have severity in Jira, but you have to set it up. It's kind of like an admin thing. So the priority is set to highest. Why is this highest? Well, it's because we can't access anything. It blocks our testing of other test cases. So if I wanted to test the login on this web page, then we can't get to anything, right? So that blocks it. We need to be able to unblock it to get it going. Developers would look at the highest priority, and then they would go back and try to immediately start working on it that day. They're not going to wait for tomorrow or the next day. This is like the top of their bug fixing queue. So developers are kind of busy, actually. Like I've got lots of bugs that have been sitting there for like 3-4 weeks, because they're working on 2 projects, and then they're developing, and then they're also looking on, bugs for, and bugs and trying to fix the bugs, right? All right, so good job on that. And this is a good way to start us off. I think there's a good example here. So hope you guys took some of that, apply it to your own spreadsheets here. I didn't get a name on this one, but if you named yours copy of homework template, might be you. The question earlier, do we need to run a test case for every product listed on a website? No, that would be too much work. Amazon's got hundreds of thousands of products. There isn't a bot doing that. There isn't a person doing that. So I think what they do is kind of like a sanity or smoke check. They will check just random products to see if the page functions in different categories, like in the men's and women's and toys and automotive sections. They've also got a lot of automation happening in the background. And I'm sure they'll get lots of bug reports from the users if something happens. We'll look at the next Jira report and we'll go over that again. So we're looking at WhatsApp on the iOS. So this is a messaging service. Verify if clicking on chat opens up conversation. Oh, I just want to point out WhatsApp is, well, it says it's encrypted and it's secure. It's not. Facebook can look at it anytime they want. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to do shady things. So back to our test case title. Verify if clicking on that chat, clicking on chat opens up a chat conversation. So what do we got to do? We got to open up WhatsApp, click on chat conversation, and our conversation is opened. All right, sounds good. I think our precondition here is that we have to have, let's see, we're on view only. If we could have comment. I'll give it kind of orally. If you're a little lost, don't worry. I mean, we have lots of test cases and bug reports to go over, so you'll be hearing a very similar version of whatever I'm saying over and over again. The precondition, I think we need to have a chat already created, like you need to have connected with another user. So I would say the first precondition is have a contact already in WhatsApp. I think is the first thing you need to do. You need to add somebody, right? And that might be all you need to do, right? Oh yeah, and then you also need to have previously contacted them. So step 2 would be send them a message and then have them close the message, right? And you're checking to see if you can reopen that chat, which is what it sounds like. Someone's asked here if you need to have a valid account as a precondition. Yeah, that might be also one you want to include in there. You can't really do much on WhatsApp without the precondition. And preconditions are kind of gray area where it's totally up to you to decide what is a precondition or not. If you want to include the precondition here or if you want to put it in your steps. So if you want to just copy and paste, have valid account as your number 1 for all of these, you definitely could. But the highest priority is, clicking and saying that you've added a contact already. That's a little bit more important. Okay, we want to verify if call icon is working on top right corner. And our expected result, though, is a call is made. So that kind of brings us to our first point, is that our expected result doesn't quite match our test case title, because just because the way messaging and communications kind of work, an icon is a good visual indicator of something, of a status, but it doesn't indicate if the feature is actually working, like the function of it, like being able to send a message or talk to somebody or hear them. The icon is just an icon. You can still talk to somebody even if the icon was broken. So I hope that makes sense. So I would say we can maybe change our test case title here to say verify calls can be sent. And then you might want to make another one called verify if calls can be received. But the steps for that are good, I think. Oh, this would be steps for sending sending a call. Verify if chat bubble is working. This is one of those things where I'm going to nitpick a little bit, and I think it's beneficial for all of us. The keyboard pops up and cursor is blinking. So my first question here, if I was reading this test case title as someone who knows nothing about WhatsApp, would be, how does the chat bubble work? How do I verify if it works or not? We want to be a little bit more detailed and say something pops up and a cursor is blinking. So maybe we want to say verify chat bubble brings up keyboard, right? And that would be a little better to do. Verify if return arrow on top left corner is working properly. Again, what does working properly mean? Working properly, functional, and as expected. Those 4 phrases are, just kind of get rid of them for test case titles. Try to be more like technical language here. That's okay. The main menu pops up. So we want to say that if you click the arrow, then the main menu pops up. Verify the camera icon. Verify camera turns on when clicking icon. We could say that for this test case title. Verify camera turns on when clicking icon. If camera capture button picture is captured, we can say verify picture is captured when selecting capture button or pressing button or whatever. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Is there any preconditions we need for this? Sounds good. Let's take a look at some of the bug reports. Phone number not fully popping up. Okay. So what we're going to do is first we're going to navigate to this URL, and that's a good thing to do for your first step here, is to take the developer or whoever is reading this to the exact URL that you want to go to, because it might not always be on the front page. And then we're going to click on an arrow in the top right corner. Expected results here. It should show, or it shows a full number. I keep saying the word should. I'm guilty of this. But for our expected results, also let's not say the word should show, because we want it to be definitive, right? And they didn't do it here, which is good. But sometimes I see like camera should turn on, or main menu should pop up. Let's not do that. Okay, so the actual result for this bug is that the screen only shows 7 digits when we should have a full phone number. So a full phone number is like 10 digits or so. And popping is like it's a descriptive word and we can use it, but for me, when I hear or see the word popping, it's kind of like a animation, and that happens in chats. So like the chat bubble should pop up, right? It does this animation, but does our phone number pop up? Does it kind of like animated on the screen? I'm guessing it's not. So phone number is not fully maybe displaying is a good word. And got our environment here and our picture. Also, another good thing to note and make ourselves look a little more professional is have good, what's it called? I'm totally blanking on it because it's been a long day. Naming conventions. Yes, naming conventions describes the title of your screenshot. So here we might say, we might want to title this maybe NBA phone number .png or something, just to, or maybe NBA and then the version of the website that you're working on or something like that. Click on this and I would, over here on our right-hand corner, we have a 6-digit phone number. So it's kind of cut off. Well, I mean, it's actually 7 because we're including this character in the middle, the hyphen. So good catch on that. I would say that we did crop it, looks like vertically. Sorry, reopen it. It did crop vertically, but we can maybe crop it to the right more, or we could like put a red box or a circle or some sort of maybe an arrow over here with any kind of like paint program. Even the default paint program is good enough. You can just hand draw it in there. It's okay if it's squiggly. But for me, it took um, a couple seconds to recognize what it is I was looking at and where I was supposed to look at. All right, good job on that one. And we got our priority maybe set to lowest. And that kind of depends on the project and if it's like a high priority, right? If it's, do people call that number a lot? Is it going to drive revenue? Do people need to call this number for you guys to make money? If so, then it would be a higher priority. But if it's like a customer support number that nobody calls, then that's okay. But customer support is very key in Western countries. So let's look at our next bug report over here. Product cannot be added to cart. All right, sounds like a good title. We just can't add something there. We're going to navigate to this particular URL. We're going to try to choose a color. We're going to try to add it to the color and a size, and we're going to add it to the cart. Expect a result. Cart window opens up, and then nothing happens. No. Sometimes a screen record would be good, but solid bug report priority is highest because this one does affect the monetary value and it affects the function of the website. The whole purpose of the website here is to shop for things, and you can't even do what it's meant for. So that would be first to be worked on. And then we can think about maybe adding that reproducibility, repo 1 out of 1 or something. But because it's kind of odd, and it's actually interesting that a computer reads a list of instructions, but these instructions sometimes there's so many things happening at one time, and sometimes these instructions get kind of crisscrossed and put out of order. So just because you do something 1 time or 5 times doesn't mean it won't happen the 6th or 7th time. It's and then as processors and computers are getting smaller and smaller, it's actually a more frequent kind of issue that something happens, not like repeatedly. All right, good job on that. Let's see if I can refresh that. Okay. Hakeem, looking at DoorDash on web. All right, so this is again, like, so I talked about having the web versus iOS and how that's different. So if I was trying to think about things for on a mobile device, I have to be aware of things like GPS. I have to be aware of maybe 2-factor authentication and those kinds of features. On the web, we don't usually have that. Verify sign in is present at the second right top corner. Okay, sounds good. Just kind of clipped a little bit. Verify clicking on the sign up or sign in opens up email and password. All right, so we're just clicking on the button itself, so we don't really need the precondition here, which we don't have yet. So good catch on that. Verify user can log in with a valid email. Okay, so it's a positive test case. And for the precondition here, again, let's try to make this comment only if we can. Recondition here would have a valid account or a valid email. Verify user with a invalid password. So we also, again, have to, let's read the expected result here before I go on. User password should be valid to open up user account. But our test case title here is saying that we should try to use an invalid one. And our steps are saying use valid password. So maybe it's just a typo. Maybe we can change that to just have valid password. If it was a negative test case, like we're trying to see what happens when we try to log in with a valid email and an invalid password, the test case here would look something like, the expected result would look like error message displayed when either email or password is incorrect or missing. And then you would actually paste the error message that you get from the web page. That would be called error handling. So there's a whole list of test cases you can execute that's underneath the category of just error handling. So what happens when you try to log in with things that don't work? And then what happens when you try to find products that get removed, but you try to use the URL that was previously for it? Like, what happens when you try to add an item that's out of stock? Verify user two-step verification code in asterisk last 4 digits. So user's two-step verification is valid. So this one kind of describes the expected result, but also a little bit more. So as we go through these steps, we need to enter in an email, a valid password, enter in a two-step verification, and verified asterisk in last 4 digits. I'm not really sure what's going on with I think it should display some of your verification code as an asterisk, right? Like when I type, when you, like, say your password field is this, it displays it like that. Maybe that's what we're trying to get at. That would be 2 separate test cases. So you could have one test case for accepting your verification code, and then you could have another test case for showing that your password is obscured or obfuscated by these asterisks. I can never say that word correctly. It's ridiculous. Verify search icon is present on the right-hand corner of the DoorDash dashboard. Okay, sounds good. Looks like we got it. We could even go further, like in DoorDash. Like, what happens when you try to filter for restaurants that are open, maybe at a certain time? What happens, and it says there's usually like a filter you can say, like, open right now. Well, what happens when you go down to your computer or your mobile device? And what happens when you change the time here to another time, like make it midnight or make it 2 a.m? Will it affect the website at all? Is it trying to draw the time from your own machine, or is it using the server? I think that would be an interesting thing to explore. Just want to give you guys good suggestions to start looking outside the box a little. An attempt to change language to Bengali resulted in 404 page not found. All right. I think that would have it on a page about languages. So we go to the web page. We're going to change our language. We're going to choose Bengali. Actual result, we get the error. So they copy and pasted the error from the page. Sounds good. And what should have happened is that the product is changed. The language is changed. We got our Chrome version. And maybe some of that, like, network. I think that's a good screenshot to have. Like, using the Chrome Dev tool and showing the network field, right? Or I think Firefox has it too as well. Like when you go to inspect, we got network here. You reload the page. Look at all that crazy stuff happening. I don't test too many web pages, but it's interesting. You can show what's going on in the background of Jira. Priority, highest. If you feel like the website is, really needs this language to be displayed, let's have it as priority. If you have a good project manager, if you have a good testing plan, you'll have all your test cases over here, and they'll be numbered and whatnot. But then beside each test case, we'll have a priority assigned to it. So if we can imagine, this one was to test if we can change the language to other languages, you would have a column over here saying like P1 or P0. So if this fails, we automatically know to open up a bug as P0. That can be a solution, but every company is a little bit different. Company I work for now, they have people trying to, they can downgrade it or upgrade it if they feel like it isn't as big of an issue. Okay. Attempt to access website results in, results in 404. Same kind of thing. We're just going to check language, but the priority is medium. So why is the Czech language take less priority than the Bengali one? Let's make them both highest. And maybe a screenshot here would be helpful as well. All right, good job here. We'll work through those suggestions. Here we have Sheila. Shop demo on web. The shop now should be a hyperlink to main page. Yes, so they're referring to, there's like a little letter there. I mean, like an image, and you can try to click it, but it actually doesn't go anywhere. It's unclickable, but it looks like a button. User should be navigated to main product page with default products shown per PRD. Oh, interesting. I'll say like just remove the word should from here, as I just kind of previously talked about. We want to have technical language and be definite steps, and then I'll say maybe like number of the steps. I like your formatting though. It makes it much easier to read. However, your guys' screen is much smaller than mine. So let me zoom in for here. And search for t-shirt. Oh, good. We have some defined search terms in a PRD. So that might be a thing where you might have keywords associated with your website that you always want to be able to be like search for. You can throw them in your preconditions. The search page resulting should show a list of all the t-shirts available with a scroll bar. Verify the user is able to scroll through the list. So we've got two sentences here, and they say the same thing to me. I would say you can just keep one or the other. Yeah. Yeah, maybe redundant sentence. I can't type. Also can't spell. Hovering on a single item shows action buttons. All right. So if you hover over something, it should give you a list of things to do. Like maybe if I were to go over these 1, 2, 3, it would automatically pop up. All right. Verify the overlay with 4 action buttons are displayed with these things. Okay. Right. Good steps. Add an item to my wish list. All right, that's a good feature to try to test. Verify the project added status shows on the image. Also, we got 2 things here. So the product is going to pop up on the, or I mean, it's going to be added to the status, or there's a status update on the product image, right? So it shows that little heart or something on the image, but then it should also go to the wish list. So these are 2 different test cases. The last one is the one we're talking about. So let's say first sentence, create a new test case for, or separate. There we go. So notice how we got 2 things going on here. Usually you want to have your expected result be only one idea, right? So if you have 2 sentences that are describing multiple things, then that's an indication that you're testing too many things at one time. And the reason that becomes an issue later is because, well, what happens when half of this feature? What if the product status update didn't show on the image, but it showed in your wish list? Does that mean your test case has failed, or is it passing because the other half was working? And if you break it down even further, if you make them into 2 test cases, then maybe your manager can get a better idea of what's exactly happening with the website and where it's breaking. So the more detailed, it really helps your boss and your management, and like help them figure out and diagnose the issue. Remove an item from the wish list. So we again here create 2 test cases. Second. Open an item in a standalone page. So what happens when you try to open up a new page, like you go right here, I mean, you click this, and you open up a new page. Sorry. Yeah, so we have different functions, different ways to go about opening it up in a new page. So we also want to make new test cases for either one of these. And then change color option for an item. Verify the dress color changes. And then that the add cart button also gets enabled. So again, I'll also separate test cases. Maybe the precondition here is have an item selected. The preconditions are really just so you don't have to have like a bazillion different steps, right? If you're just doing the same steps over and over again just to get to this portion, it's easier just to throw those steps and condense them into a precondition. It makes your steps look a little bit neater. It's like a formatting thing. So change size option for an item. And again, let's make this 2 different test cases. But otherwise, good functional test cases, and you're definitely on the right track here. Let's look at bug report 1720 and 1715. It also executed these test cases. I think that's fun to do. So now they've made some bugs out of it. Selecting different size for an item blanks out the model image on the standalone page. All right, good title. So we know something's issue. An issue is happening with the model image when we select a different size. So I don't even really need to read the steps. If I was a developer just reading this, I already kind of know what to do. I might already have an idea in my head on how to fix this. I would just maybe number the steps. And that's probably all we need to do. The image on the left-hand side disappears, leaving a blank space. And it should change color and the size in the UI. So we have different environments here. We tried it both on Chrome and both on Safari. So, there's some animation stuff going on. Maybe it's because of Chrome, maybe it's because of Safari, but if it happens on both the browser, then maybe it's the website. That's why we're putting our environment. And here we have a blank screen. Since it's blank over here, I'm sure the developers know where the images are. But if you put like a red box around here, like where the hero image, which is the large image, would go. So usually the small ones are called thumbnails, and then the large one is called a hero image. All right, good job on that. Priority is high. It's not blocking anything, but it is high because you want to see in detail about the thing that you're trying to buy. Good job on that. Show now or shop now hyperlink on main page is broken. How is it broken? Steps, we're going to go to here on the main page, click on hyperlink. Link does nothing when clicked. We tried on with a Mac on Chrome, Safari, and one thing I would do is maybe change the title is unresponsive. It doesn't respond. So you got input, output, valid, invalid, responsive, unresponsive. Yeah, looks good. And that would maybe be highest because it looks like when you go to that web page, it's just a big old kind of button in the middle. And it might not be obvious that you need to scroll down more to actually go buy things. The severity is actually low. This is a high priority, low severity because you can just scroll down and start shopping. You can go to different categories, but the priority is high is because it's the first thing the user sees on the web page. Right? If Apple had a typo on their front page, that would be a catastrophe for them. They get millions of views a day on their web page, and they're known for like a design quality standard. Right? Typos are not one of them. All right, good job on that, Sheila. I think I'm on AMAN. I think you need to resubmit your homework link there. And we're at 6:34. I think I'd like to take maybe a 10-minute break here, and we'll continue on. We'll be able to get through a few more bug reports here now that we have an idea of what we're doing and what the format looks like. So let's come back at 6:45 Pacific Standard, 9:45 Eastern Standard. That gives you like 9.5 minutes. All right, and we're back. A little extra minute there because my coffee was took a minute to make. All right, looking at Hira Atik's cheapo flights on the web. We want to verify search flight form is present on the landing page. Is that a pun? Open the website, and our expected result is search flights form display on the form is on the landing page there, so it should be at the top. And interesting, they've included a kind of like a design element here, so this is where it should be. Cool, I like that idea. Verify round trip is a round trip in search flight box is selected by default. So this radio button should be here. It shouldn't be on one way. It shouldn't be multi-city. Click the result is the same. All we have to do is observe the icon in the flight box. So I like when you don't have to do anything. I like and often do myself. Put this last step in here. I just say like observe the whatever it is we're doing and where it is. Because that is a good indicator to the person actually executing the test cases that they don't need to do anything or actually look anywhere else. Verify if a user is able to search origin by city airport code. And then the system opens up a search drop-down menu upon user input and shows the matching results. Sounds good. If you this would be like a manual test. I mean, you could do this manually, but there's lots of like airport codes. Just like the way they might do it, like with an automated one, is like they might make a test script and they might have all the airport codes in a library, and then they would just one by one use like execute a script to like input all these codes for you, because that'd be really difficult to see which all the airports that have flights to. Scrolling down a little bit, verify if a user cannot search the same origin and destination city. So you don't want to put a flight to the same place and end at the same place. Gives an error message to select different from and to city airport. Maybe like I mean, essentially says it here, but maybe I'll be a little bit more explicit. Maybe say like, I mean, way to fix this would just be put quotes, select different city from and to city or airport. Just copy and paste the error message here. But you've essentially done that already. Verify user is able to see the calendar when searching for flight dates. And you should be able to click a date. Okay. Do we need to open the website and then click on date, or do we need to click on calendar? So what happens here? Like, I guess you click on the date that's over here. You're not clicking on these dates down here. Verify if a user cannot select previous dates. Previous then today's date. System gray out the previous dates in calendar. Well, two different things, right? So one is indicating that every date previous to the current date needs to be grayed out, but it also needs to be non-selectable or unclickable. So let's say we can change this one to verify, previous dates are grayed out. Good job on that. I'm interested in your, I like looking at the bug reports that aren't necessarily the the QA ones just because I like finding new and interesting things. What is this one? Okay. Origin input box in flight search not showing drop down. Okay, I think that's it. It does justice to it. I get the gist here. Step one, open the website. Maybe include step one. Include the URL there. Enter the city origin or airport code. And the actual result is it doesn't show up on the city airport in the drop-down menu. And it doesn't happen to like any of them, right? System should open up the search drop-down with city airports upon user input and show the matching results. So we have a picture here. JFK is a very large and well-known airport in the United States. Should definitely populate that. And New York, maybe it doesn't let you space or something. That would be JFK or LaGuardia or something, or Newark. Yeah, I would also include maybe the reproducibility on this one. So lots of different airports. Maybe just say you tried it 10 out of 10 times or 5 out of 10 times on this one. And yeah, the priority would definitely be highest. Does it find any of them, right? I think it shows JFK, but it doesn't find the New York one. Interesting. Good job on that. Okay, and we have an environment. So when entering numbers in field, first name, system doesn't show error message. We can put, some this. System doesn't show an error message for the invalid input field. Okay. If we're gonna try to insert some numbers, we're trying to break it, doing some negative test casing, negative test case here. Yep, first name can't be numbers. I don't think you can legally have numbers as your first name in the United States. Okay, highest. Could be. It depends on the form in the field, but let's go with it. I believe it. Good job on that. Keep up the good work. Looking at Jeff on Yelp, on Google Chrome. Observe search field. All right, so maybe it's on the page, it's on the center of the page. Sounds good. We want to verify the search field, but how about, do we want to go about doing that? It should yield more options in a drop-down list below. So maybe we can say something like verify. Oh, yeah, verify option drop down when clicking search field. Or when, or upon. Oops. Verify search field for pizza. Yelp, I mean, you could do that. I don't feel like it's wrong because Yelp has maybe like very specific categories and stuff, and pizza is it's a widely popular category of food. The search should redirect the user to a new page with restaurants similar to search result or input. Or you could just put your precondition here, like search terms. You could put like pizza, pasta, some other things here. And that's okay. 1 second here. So we go to Yelp. They have a link to it. Type in pizza, press enter. Like that, we have our input method here. Okay, let's remove the word should. We're going to observe the top 10 list and the page of top 10 most frequent places for the first top 10 results. So it should be, what we're really getting down to is not that there's 10 things. That could be another test case, like having it populate at least 10, but that they're the most frequented places. How you actually know that they're the most frequented places, that's for maybe some sort of metrics on the website can determine that. Maybe if it's Yelp, knowing Yelp, I'm sure companies actually just pay them to get there, but I won't tell you all my feelings about them. We could say observe the top 10 list populates with most frequent. Let's do roles. There we go. Observe login button on upper right hand side of the screen. Yep. And it's like a visual observation. And then we're going to verify the login function. How do we want to go about doing that? It redirects when the user logs in. So the thing about logging in is that we should have a precondition. So a good example here is have a valid registered account. And then the login should direct users to the login page. Oh, so I guess there's like a login button and it takes you to the login like actual dashboard. So maybe you don't actually need to have that. I'll take that back. My bad. But we can say verify login to login page, landing page, something like that. All right, good job. Links to summer lookbook not functional. Okay. On here, we're going to observe the summer lookbook verified by clicking shop now. The actual result, the shop now link is not functional. And it should redirect users to this lookbook page, and it doesn't. Yeah, okay, I'll go with it. Yeah. So I like that they had done this here. So usually what happens is we get screenshots and it's like the whole dang web page, right? And it's like this tiny button that's in here, actual size in the middle, and you don't even really know where you're looking. So I like that you cropped it down and now we know what we're looking at. So makes sense. Like I said, highest priority, but least severe because there's other ways to shop. You can go down, you can look at other things, you can use the search, you can use the left-hand side, I think. You can click on other links, but it's on the front page, right? View all blogs, button not functional. Bob Law's law blog. Navigate to home, observe all the blogs, verify, view all blog function. And then what happens is we press in this blog, it takes us back to the top of the page. So it's not actually going anywhere. And we got our environment. Yeah. So here we have our button, but maybe this one would be better with a video, doing some sort of screen record caption. And if you want to find some screen recording software, it's pretty easy to just go to your browser of choice and find an extension like Firefox. This one is called Awesome Screenshot, and it's free, but you have to like pay for upgrades. It saves the last like 20 of them, but you can capture video on your screen and then like upload it there. If you use a mobile device though, it's there's built-in features already though for doing that. There's ADB commands, which I think you guys maybe have already gone over or maybe explored or will explore pretty soon. Priority could be high depending on the need of this blog. So got all our elements. Looks good. All right, good job. Abdullah on Lingo card. Confirm username and ID is present on the middle instead of the right. So, and our expected result is username and ID is present on the middle. Okay, we don't have to say instead of the right because we don't care or know anything about what's happening on the right side. We just want it to be in the middle. So we can say exactly as you have. We'll just take out the last part. There we go. We'll use this phrase as your test case as well. TC is a pretty common abbreviation for test case, TC. And gosh, they don't, we just all of a sudden at our work just started using it all the time. I've hardly have ever seen it, but DUT, I mean, you guys should know that one by now, like device under test. So if you have lots of different types of things you are testing, if you want to be vague about something, you can just say, hey, I'm testing, or my DUT or DUT is got this bug or whatever. All right, yeah, and it's a good test case title. Steps, all you got to do is open the main page to confirm it. Maybe we'll say step 2, or step 1, open the main page. Step 2 is observe username, ID. Yeah, we can just do that. And then where you're observing it, it will determine if this is a pass or a fail, right? Good job. Keep on working on this, and we'll see it tomorrow. QA, test your homework. Web, confirm the men's icon is present on the top of the main page. And it should be present on the main page up top. Okay. Next machine, no, that's okay. Open the main page, that's all you gotta do. Confirm the pop-up menu appears once the mouse is hovered over a men's icon. Okay. Oh, that brings up a good idea about this. I also believe that you got to go up to format and change the formatting for the cells to rep. Right now it's under clipping, so it's going beyond this. It's like hidden behind this next cell right here. And so someone asks if we're going over everyone's homework today, or we'll finish by tomorrow. We're going over as many as we possibly can in the time allotted. Obviously, we're not going to be able to get to everybody, but I want to be able to show enough examples here and give enough feedback that you guys can fix some of them, and then you guys can apply what you're learning and seeing here to your own, right? You can use a little critical thinking skill to see if there's any similarities, right? So I don't think it's even if we don't get to your spreadsheet, I don't believe it's a waste of time or anything like that. So this one came up with a good point, is that pop-ups. So what happens in a pop-up, or what happens in a browser, right? Things pop up. What do people really hate? Pop-ups. I have a pop-up blocker. Browsers have got built-in pop-up blockers. So let's say our precondition is pop-up blocker disabled, because we have to enable it. So sometimes it's even on by default. Confirm words are legible on the pop-up menu. So sometimes the font maybe doesn't appear very readable or legible. Confirm the women's icon is present. Okay. Confirm the pop-up menu appears once over this particular section. There's the men's and the section, so you got to break them up, especially if they're displaying two different types of like advertisements or something in there. Never take any of what happens on a web page for granted, because a programmer has to make all of this happen somehow, usually through some sort of black magic. Confirm words are legible on pop-up menu. Okay. All right, good job. On there, let's look at bug report. Words are not legible on the pop-up menu. We had just made a test case about that. Yeah, someone had a good question here before I start this one. Can you guys go on creating test cases as practice? Definitely, please. I encourage it. You're going to make a lot of test cases, and maybe try something that's out of your comfort zone. Like take something really random. Like maybe I got this like camera mount on my desk. It's just a piece of wire with rubber around it, and it's got like a little camera dock thing to it. Maybe try creating test cases for that and see what you come up with, because you're going to get to interviews and our interview section, and we'll definitely help you and give you the right things to say. And in an actual interview, they're not going to give you examples of what to test that are from a computer or a phone or whatever. They're going to ask you to test a box of macaroni and cheese, or a refrigerator, or a pen, right? And they're just looking for ways that you can test all the features of something, and then test all these features in different conditions, right? Does a box of macaroni open easier in a very humid country versus a dry country? Stuff like that. I had to test a military drone one time, just because I said I liked flying things. So that was interesting to come up with. Okay, back to this. Words are not legible on the pop-up menu. We're going to go to here, hover over the men's icon. They end up overlapping each other. Okay, good result here, like describing that what's actually happening. And then our screenshot indicates, yeah, there's some stuff happening here. And maybe it's because of the size of the screen. Maybe try out that like Chrome Dev Tool thing, where you can increase the size of your screen or decrease it, and see what happens. If you guys are comfortable using BrowserStack, like testing the website BrowserStack or the functions of it, go for it. And priority, medium. Well, interesting. Let me take a look at this. It could be, I would say it's like medium or high, right? Because it's trying to show all the categories, and if you can't read the category as a user, I don't know if what's going on. It doesn't give me good feelings about my order successfully going through if they can't organize their categories for clothing correctly, right? Right, so no other suggestions on that one. Words are hidden behind images of women, so maybe this is like a design error here. Yeah, someone pointed out it might be a scam, which is what it sometimes could be. So what happens is there's these things called phishing, where scam artists will copy a web page exactly, because you can, what can you do? You can go to inspect, And then you can copy all these elements and put it into a new web page and change the URL just slightly to make you think you're on the real web page. But sometimes they don't have enough attention to detail. They don't have a QA department, right? And some things they get messed up like that. The font goes all over the place. So back to this. The attachment. Yep. You think it would be a good design choice? It's kind of trendy to maybe obscure things and have it clip behind this, but half of the words are behind it, or this person, this model. So that would be unusable as a user. Maybe it's designed like that, but as a QA, we can advocate for the consumer and say like, hey, this is not easily readable, even though it might be designed like that. Okay. That was that right? The 22nd. Did they put an actual homework due date, like on the dashboard for a particular time? The priority, maybe medium, right? It's not like you're clicking on this very much, or you probably know that there's women's clothing behind it. All right, good job there. Spotify on web. Okay, it's important to note that we're on web because there's mobile versions. We can confirm the sign up and login are present on the main page. Top right corner. And we're going to open the steps. And all you got to do is go to here. Verify search button is present on anywhere in the main page. Can the search button be anywhere? What happens if it's like down at the bottom or off to the side or something? So we might want to define where it actually should live, maybe according to like a PRD. We'll give parentheses location. It'll describe the location. Verify clicking on the sign up button on the top right corner opens up sign up input field. Looks good. Clicking on the login button opens up the login input field. Verify input. Incorrect login password pops up an error message. And we have our error message defined over here because sometimes what might happen is that you're expecting an error message, but then it just spews out like a bunch of code, and that might not be what we're expecting. So you want to define to the user something that might be wrong. But since we're inputting invalid details, I always kind of struggle if I should say this one or not, having like invalid credentials, because if you know they're not valid, then they're inherently invalid, right? It's kind of a philosophical or logical question. As long as you know they're not valid, you can put them in here, or you don't need that precondition. But here we do. We have a correct login and password. So here we need to have valid account details. Verify clicking on Spotify logo brings user back to main page. All right, sounds good. Pop-up makes invisible main list on top of the job page. Oh, okay. So it's trying to hide this main list whenever you try to do something, just to declutter the UI. And verify clicking on the logo brings you back again. All right, all really good ideas. So I had given an example of Spotify before on an interview, and one of the things that I think was helpful was, at least on the mobile version, you usually use Spotify with maybe like your Wi-Fi internet, right? But you can use Wi-Fi on your data. But what happens when you try to take your phone, playing Spotify, playing a song, and then move outside of the range of your Wi-Fi, and then your cell phone um, data takes over, right? So it switches from Wi-Fi to data, and then data to Wi-Fi. What happens to the music then? Should it continue playing? Is it going to give you an error? Is it going to crash? Is it going to pause? Is it going to, stop buffering after some time? And it's a bug still in Spotify, and it bugs me every time. uh, because I will leave my house and then it'll stop playing music, and I have to like close the application. So let's take a look at these bugs real quick. I think you're on the right track here, so I'm only going to look at I'll look at two. I want to get through at least maybe two, three more. There is not a search button on anywhere the main page. Okay. So it's missing. So you have to go here. Actual result, there's no search button. And maybe somewhere should be have to be somewhere. And get Spotify. Well, maybe there's a, that might be like a design choice, but for the purpose of learning, we'll call it a bug. Priority, that could be possibly a high if it's supposed to be there, especially if you're searching for something. And main list. Oh, wait, actually, Control Shift. Double check. Okay, you got your actual expected results. So on this one, we want to add our add expected and actual results. Main list is not clearly visible and available to tap. If we tap on the jobs, click on the visibility. And I would say maybe include screenshot for this one. That would definitely help. Or you did. It just looked like a bug attachment since it's red. My bad. So we have a screen recording here. And what happens here? So, that's a what is it? Because is it when they mouse over? So okay, we're trying to hire now. Okay, but then it's trying to pick you that job for New York or something. Good catch. That's a good one. Okay. And about a medium or low. This is where it was definitely helpful to have a recording. So sometimes the screenshots just good enough, but when we have something moving, when we need to show the result of some output or the result of some input, we should have that. All right, good job, Narana. Andrew, Lingo card on the web. Confirm web page by entering in this URL for the contacts. We're expecting the web page to appear. How do we want it to confirm? Like, confirm web page by entering URL. Let's say loads or something. Or Confirm English drop-down arrow produces all languages. And then search multiple languages around the world. Since our expected result is that we should see multiple languages or the majority or a lot of languages, definitely not the majority. There's a lot of languages out there, but confirm, maybe we can say something closer to confirm that function. What we're actually trying to test here is that drop-down menu. If that link would go away. Oh, maybe I'm misappropriating the ENG to English. Oh, okay. It's English and then it drops down and then it's shows all the other languages. Okay, that sounds fine to me then. I'm just kind of thinking out loud and trying to fill it in the blanks of my head, but I'm not actually seeing the website. Just kind of imagining how it might work. Verify when filling in sign up application, users are able to sign up. Yep, okay. Create a sign up account by filling in blank boxes on homepage. Maybe we can just say, create, sign up account. How we go about it is going to be in your steps, or unless there's multiple ways to do it, but I'm pretty sure the only way to create an account is by filling in those boxes. Filled in boxes on sign up. And then for the steps, I just want to see a little bit more detailed. So, step one would be fill in boxes. Step two would be like select submit or something. Whatever that button is. And verify the field produces some results. What results are we talking about? Application account and filling in. Okay. Maybe it takes you to the next page, or maybe it's supposed to send you something. Not really sure about that one. Confirm contacts button opens by clicking on contacts. Okay, you're gonna see some contact information. Error handling test case here. So add to new contacts info does not display result. Or maybe this is a bug you found. Okay. Friends to with name and picture appear on the left screen to view new contacts. I think it's just kind of maybe some bug notes that you found here. Verified picture upload on profile picture by clicking on camera. Upload profile picture from laptop. All right, yeah, so you can, good that you put this one. So you can usually upload a profile picture by selecting the camera option or by uploading your own. In this case, we want to do the camera. So, and nowadays we have websites that need your permission for everything. So maybe a precondition we can have here, just as a thought, is have camera permissions turned on for browser. But we also want to say for here that we're not uploading the picture because we're taking it by the camera. So click on the profile button to insert. And maybe like step two is like, click camera button to take photo? Question mark. All right. Good thoughts on that. Good job. All right, track. Take a look at LingoCard. Adding new contacts does not display results. All right, so can't add your contacts. We're going to add 2 new contacts. We get nothing. And we're expecting them to appear on the right. And we get nothing from that. We have some naming convention up here. All right. And yeah, they got blank images. You have no personal contacts, even though obviously our steps, I think, have told us that we should have added them, right? All right, good job on that. Priority, depending on if you need contacts, right? It's probably a pretty integral part of your website. Yep. I'll take that. Good job. We probably have time for one more here. So looking at Ari, yacht sales, buy or sell your yacht. Gosh, can't wait to be there. Actually heard even from the uber rich, I've heard that yachts are like the biggest waste of money, but maybe you like to yacht a lot. Confirm search icon is present on the top right corner. Our expected result is there. And our precondition is that we're using Google Chrome as our browser. I'll take it. Maybe this is something we need to test in Chrome for some specific reason. Verify that clicking on the search icon opens up a searchable field. Use, okay. Verify that entering an item in search returns a query. And we don't have to define any particular item here, which is fine. And we're choosing our input method. Verify clicking on a result opens the product page. Verify photos and video tab yields results. What about the tab? What do we have to interact with it with somehow? So the interior and exterior photos can be seen and toggled through. However, no content should be available. Click on photos and tabs to the right. I would say here, verify clicking photos and tab. You can just add that part. I think we're on view only here, so. Verify description tab yields desired results. Description of the vessel only yields 2 results, number of cabins and heads. Maybe put those details in here. So we could say verify description returns number of cabins and number of heads. Then verify feature tab also returns a list of features here. So, all right. Sounds good. Let's look at some of the bugs. Should be, what about this one? Whatever load. I want to say this is 58. 1758. Okay, we'll look at that one in a second. The description of the vessel only yields 2 results for the 105-foot description here. Really good detailed steps we have. We're following this URL and only 2 light items appear. But we're expecting other items here. So like the luxury benefits, all the comparisons, yada, yada. Environment on Chrome. I think we need the version number here. So I'll say include browser version number. Again, you can usually find that when you find the About section. I'll take a look at the screenshot. And doesn't have anything. So it's just nothing. Okay. Save it. Priority, probably medium, maybe high, because you want to know more information about the product. You want to try help sell it. Yeah, I'll take a look at one more. I'm going to copy this URL actually, and then I'm going to change it to 1758. Oops. Photos and video tab only produces results. Isn't the one we just looked at? Similar one. 1761. No features are listed. They're very brief. There's no additional features. And it should have like supporting details from the document. And the dedicated design team set up by. Okay. But then you go over here. Okay, maybe this guy Azimuth has produced yada yada yada. So design challenges here is another bug, right? And it's missing a whole bunch of features. So good job on that. And probably About medium, and then again include browser version. All right, I think that does it just about for us tonight, this evening. Hopefully you guys have been able to make some adjustments already to your spreadsheets. We'll be back here, same place, same time tomorrow. However, you'll have a different instructor. Please take the time while you have it, if you're here, to spruce up and fix up your bug reports. Continue practicing. I highly encourage you to think outside the box. And again, for those who are wondering about your homework being submitted, if you have previously submitted it on the dashboard through the portal, I guarantee you it's in there, right? The confirmation code is just a little bit ambiguous, but it's in there. Yeah, you guys did an overall good job. Your titles look good, and your test case titles have been actually really well for this section you guys are in. And I might say that oh yeah, and if you make corrections on your spreadsheet, that's good enough. So you don't need to resubmit after you go through and then you fix the comments that I've made. Yeah, you're done after that step. Okay, so well, welcome to the world of QA. And this is pretty much what we do. It's almost too easy to be true, right? But I promise you it's worth the effort. And it definitely gives you something new to look forward to, like, all the time. And especially like me, I get really bored of doing the same thing over and over again. So there's opportunity for other projects. And we're going to end it here tonight. So thank you all. Have a good night.